Hi everyone and welcome to our mixed media class today. Today we're going to create a canvas using some different elements, and I'm using a round canvas. I've got some cheesecloth that I'm going to add in, some metal embellishments, some flowers. I've got a couple of paper dolls I want to add in. I've got a lace sort of doily that I had left over. Some flowers, a little bit of chipboard. I've got a tag as well that I want to add in. Some ribbed cardboard. I've already pre-cut the edge of it, so it's ready to go. But I've also got some small twigs here, so I thought these would be something a little bit different to use. If you don't want to use twigs, you can use paper straws, anything that you want really. So I'm going to use twigs today. So the first thing you need to do is measure your ribbed cardboard. If you've got a cardboard box, you can just rip the top layer of cardboard off to expose the ribs. You don't need to have all of it exposed if you don't want to, because we're going to be adding elements onto here, so you're not going to see all that ribbing anyway, so you don't need to rip it all off. You can put your cardboard on and then take off the bits that you want to. So before you do anything, you actually need to put your canvas down onto your cardboard. Draw it out with a pencil and just cut it. So you need to do that before anything else, because we're actually going to add some texture paste on here. So I know my cardboard is going to sit roughly there, so I'm going to add a bit of texture paste around the edges, so just to give it a little bit more dimension, a few more points of interest, just to add a little bit more. So when you're doing mixed media, you sort of want to add different elements to it. So I'm just going to think about where my cardboard is going to sit. Now I'm using a round canvas and it's not a flat board, so you do need to be mindful when you're putting your texture paste on that it is going to sink in the middle a bit when you put pressure on it. So if you want to put something underneath it to hold it up, you can do that. I don't always do that, but you know, you can, just to give it a bit more stability. So once you put your texture paste on, you just need to get it dry. So I'm just going to leave this part here for now, so I might get the rest of it dry before I go in there. I'm just going to add a little bit more up here. Just because I know that the cardboard isn't going to cover the whole thing. Okay, so I've done all my stenciling. I've got it mostly dry. Just missed just a little bit. So I'm ready to start layering all my pieces on. So I want to make sure that my cardboard is covering the empty spaces, so all my stenciling is around the outside. So all I'm going to do is I'm using Super Tack glue, which works really well for this sort of stuff. So I'm just going to add it on and get my cardboard stuck down. So this dries relatively quick, or goes tacky really quick, so, and it works really well for metal as well. So I'm just going to stick that on. I don't have it right to the edge, but I'm quite happy to leave a little gap at the edge. So what I'm going to add on next is my twigs. So I've got them, not all of them are long enough, but I want them to hang over the edge, so I may bring them up a little bit more or down as well. I want them to go over both, so I'm just going to glue those on. Yeah. So make sure you've got enough glue on there that they will stay. Okay. So I'm not putting the glue right to the top end of that one because it's going to hang over the edge, and I want it to hang over further than the one I've got on. It's not going to sit the way it was. There we go. That'll do. Just going to add more glue on for this one, just to make sure that it does stick on there. Alright, bring it down that way a little bit. Okay, that's better. So now I'm going to put this one down here. I'm not too worried about the length in this part of the canvas here because I'm actually going to add some stuff on and cover that over anyway. So just adding plenty of glue. that one's going to stick up at this end, so that's okay. We'll just leave it there. I might add this little one in there as well. Just simply because this one is sticking up, so I'm putting that one underneath it just to give it a little bit more something to sit on. Okay. So I'm not sure. I might add that one on as well. I'm not going to cover them right over so you will see them. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to add on is my tag. So I'm just looking at where I actually want to put it, whether I want it up the top, in the middle, no. Yeah, I'm thinking up the top a bit. So I'm going to hang it over the top of the cardboard. Because it's got the hole in the middle, you could add a bit of box board underneath if you wanted to, but I'm not actually too worried about that. So I know I've got 2 paper dolls to go on, so he's gonna probably be down here somewhere and she'll sit up here leaning on something. So they're gonna be the last things that I put on. So I'm thinking I might add this doily on, but I will do that after because it's white. So you need to get on all the elements that you want on first if you want to gesso them, because we're gonna use a grey and a pink in the background, the colours. So I've got metallic ones, but one's a purpley pink and one's a grey, so they're going to go quite nicely on there. I've got a darker purple, just for a bit of extra colour, a bit darker colour. So they're all going to go on like watercolours. We're going to put them on with a little bit of water as well if we need to. So now I'm just thinking I might put a jigsaw puzzle piece or 2 on and cover them with gesso as well. So I'm just guessing where they're going at the moment, but when they're on you can work around where they are, so all your other elements can sit in a way, you know, that maybe I won't put that one there, might put that one up there a little. because I want to set something up on top here as well, so you know, I might do that. The flower may go up here. This one, she might sit and lean on something here, so maybe that won't go on there at all. So she might sit there somewhere. And then I've got a wing to put on for her as well. Yeah, I think I like that. So this jigsaw puzzle piece I might leave off at the moment as well. I'm actually going to glue on these metal pieces where they are because I quite like that. And I do want them covered with gesso as well. So I'm just going to put that one there. Let's see. That one there. I've also got these little clear half circly flat backed things as well, so I'm going to put those on as well. They'll probably get covered with gesso as well, so I will put them on in a second as well. So I'm just going to leave that sit there for a minute. This flower is going to go there. When you're putting metal embellishments onto stuff like the twigs, you need to make sure that you put plenty of glue just to make sure that they stay. So they should be okay. Those ones there are fine. May even put that over. No, don't know yet. So I want my doily. I might even put my doily over this side. So I may put it on there somewhere. I may not even use it yet, so, or I could put it, butt it up against the twigs. I could cut it down a bit and put it there, but I don't want to coat it in gesso, so it's gonna sit over there for now. So I might put you sort of want to draw the eye down as well. So I want to put this one on, but I don't want it covered, so she might sit there. When you're doing this, you need to have lots of different things to put on. So on the back of her, if she's not sitting on something metal, I'll probably put some box board or something behind her just to make sure she sits up nicely. Oops. So I'm happy with this flower where it was as well. So I'm just going to put that in there. So she might go there. Yeah. You can add anything in really. I've got lots of different metal pieces. You know, you don't have to have the 3D sort of ones. You can add in flatter ones as well. Might even add that one in there. I like that flower there, so I'm gonna stick that one down. And because they're on different heights as well, it gives it a bit more to look at too. So I will dry these off properly soon too, just to make sure that they stay where they're supposed to. No, I like that one there. So the flowers, I'm just playing around at the moment. I'm just trying to decide where I want them. I'm not going to coat them in gesso because they're already white, but so they may sit there like that. And these may sit out here somewhere. That one I might put up there. So I'm going to coat these with gesso as well. Yeah. It's good to have a look at where you're putting things as well before you actually glue them down. That way you know that all your elements are going to be seen if you want them to be seen. So she'll sit there. He'll probably sit there. We may even sit something out here like that to sit her on. And then I'll add the jigsaw piece in there, maybe. So while she's sitting there, just going to add these pieces on while she's sitting there. So with your paper dolls, if you're using those, try not to get glue on them. That way you're not going to have any marks or anything on them. Okay, so that looks like it's flowing really nicely. It's sort of flowing over towards him as well, so it's joining him into it all. and her wing will sit up here as well, or I might even put it onto him. I sort of started off thinking that she'll have the wing, but he may end up with it yet. So I quite like that. Okay. So these flowers I'm happy with there, but I'm not going to put them on just yet. We haven't put our cheesecloth on yet either. So I might add some of that on. So the cheesecloth doesn't need to be covered in gesso, so I might have it here. So I might put it under. Yeah. I'm actually going to use the cheesecloth to cover up a little bit of that twig, so I might have it there and not use the doily at all. So I'm going to leave that off for now. So I'm going to get all my glue dry. So you need to get it dry so as you can push your gesso on. So I'm going to get everything dry and then I'll be back for the next step. Okay, so all my glue is dry. They're relatively stable there. They're not going to come off when I'm putting my gesso on. So all I'm going to do is coat everything with gesso. I want to coat my cardboard as well, so it's going to make sure I get in underneath there. Coat that little thing. So you just want to make sure it's sealed, so when we put the sprays on, they're not going to just soak straight in and not be seen. So you want to make sure everything is coated. You probably only need one coat because we're going over with the grey as well. One of our sprays is a grey. So I'm not too worried about the canvas just at the moment. I just want to get the rest of it all coated. So if you've got a heavy gesso, that's fine to use. If you've got a thinner one, that's okay. You just might need to add a bit more just to make sure you've got good coverage on there. So make sure you do all the edges as well. Don't want to have these dark edges sticking out if you're using chipboard. So make sure you go in underneath all your metal embellishments as much as you can as well. Turn it around and make sure you're having a look at what you can see when it's hanging and when it's not. You don't want to have too much showing underneath, but again we are putting other colour on top, so it's not, doesn't have to be perfect. So with your twigs, just make sure that you do the back of them as well. Just remember to be a little bit careful with your metal embellishments as well. I like to leave them dry overnight so as you know that they are dry and they're not going to move. So before you hang it on a wall or whatever you're going to do with it, just make sure it is completely dry. Okay, I'm just going to finish coating all this with gesso and then I'm going to get it dry and we'll be back and ready for the next step. Okay, so I've got everything coated with gesso, everything's dry. I've done my canvas with gesso as well, so I'm ready to do the next step. So I've put all my other pieces aside that I want to keep white. I've decided that my flowers and my gauze that I'm going to add on, I want to keep them white. So we're going to add some colour on now. So you'll need a water spray bottle, have that handy, have a couple of brushes handy, definitely some paper towel as well. So I'm actually using metallic colours today, so I'm just going to maybe spray a little bit on first. So anything you don't want covered, make sure that you've got it out the way. Just going to put that down there. I have a brush handy. So I'm going to spray it a little bit first. So it's not a dark grey, but it's just going to give it a little bit of colour. So if it runs, I don't mind. I want it to run a bit. So that's really a pale metallic grey. If you've got a darker one, you can use the darker one. So just okay. Squash the edge a little bit. So I'm just going to put that one aside and I'm going to dry that off and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've dried that off pretty much, not completely, but I've dried it. So you can see the shimmer that you get from it. It is a pale grey, but if you want to use a darker one, you certainly can, because the pink is definitely a brighter pink, so a darker grey would go very well with it. So I'm going to add in some pink as well. If I can, oh, there we go. No. There we go. Now it's starting to work. So this is a pinky sort of purple. You probably won't be able to see it, but the shimmer on it is a purpley sort of shimmer. So I'm just going to run those down as well. Just going to spray the flowers and those bottle caps. Okay, quite liking that. So just gonna get all the drippy bits out. Okay, so this one, the colours are just meant to be subtle, so if you want to do it bright colours, you certainly can as well. So I'm quite happy with that at the moment, so I'm going to dry that off and then we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, so my purple's on, my silver's on, I've dried everything off and we're ready for the next step. So my next step is to maybe add a little bit of this. You could go around the outside in the silver or the grey or the pink if you wanted to. If you've got a darker colour, you can certainly use a darker colour again. I'm thinking I might just dip my brush in and go around the edge. Just to give it all that nice little shimmer. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's like lots of things, you like to edge them, make them stand out more. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. I'm going to just put a bit of this onto my glass mat and then spray it with water and make it into a bit of a wash. And then just add a bit of shading in around under there. Can certainly mix the colours together just to blend them a bit more as well. But you don't want to do it too much because the grey will take over the pink. Can't see up there. So I'm just going in behind that tag because I know you can see behind there. Right, go in under there. I've also got an amethyst sort of coloured wax as well, which I'm going to add on just for a bit of highlights as well. So I'm going to go down in between the twigs as well, where you can see just so it's not a stark white underneath there. Add some onto your twigs if you want to as well. But I will be adding back in a little bit of white. But it's not going to be a stark white, so I just want that to blend a little bit more. So I'm thinking I might put some glass bits in there as well. They're just silver glass bits, so I'm thinking I might put some of those in as well, just to add a bit of interest. It's always good to have a bit of black or white in what you're doing. Black would be a bit too stark in this case, so I'm thinking a bit of the glass, glitter glass will be good. Okay. So I just want to blend that out so it's not such a stark line. So you want to mix them in just a little. So I've just wet my brush. As well. and I'm just dabbing that on. And it's just breaking up the distinct line that's there. You might not be able to see it in the video, but I can definitely see it. So just want to break that up a little bit and just soften it. Same with there along the edge, just softening that up a little bit. Okay. So I just want a little bit more pink up around here. That pink has sort of disappeared with the grey, so I just want to add a little bit more in. Okay. So I'm just adding some onto the twigs as well, just so as they get a bit of colour and everything as well. You don't want them stark white. They stand out and look prettier with the colours. So I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to get this completely dry now, and then we'll be ready to add on our last little bits. So I'll just dry this off and then I'll be back. Okay, so everything's dry. So we're getting close to the end. The next step is to add on our white pieces. So I'm just going to put them on. I'm not going to glue it right down. I don't think you need to. You can, of course, if you want to, but I'm not overly worried about it. So I do want it to hang over the edge a bit as well. So I'm just going to leave that like that. It's coming over nicely. Bits of my twigs are covered. So now I'm going to put on my white flowers. And I'm going to might add some glass glitter down in the middle of these flowers. So I'm just going to fill the middle with glue. And then sprinkle it in there. So I'll leave that sit overnight to dry as well. Might add a bit in here too. So any excess I'll shake that off tomorrow when it's dry. Just make sure you don't shake it off where you're going to walk on it. Okay. So that's our white pieces on there. If you've got a sentiment, you can definitely put something up across here. What's next? I'm going to put a little bit of wax on. So I've got the amethyst coloured wax. So I'm just going to highlight parts as well. You can use a brush to do this, but as you can see, it's a purpley colour. It's going to match in quite nicely with our colours that we've used as well. So if you've got gold, you can use gold. I might put a little bit of gold on as well. The amethyst I'm using actually has a bit of gold in there as well. So just highlight, try and not do your white flowers if you don't want to. Just put a little bit of a highlight on my branches as well. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to attach my first paper doll, so she's going to go on here. So I'm just going to glue her to the metal. So she's going to stick on there quite nicely. I'm not going to put that on. Okay, so I've added some box board onto my man as well, so he's going to sit up nicely onto my cardboard there. His foot, I'm thinking, is going to hang over the edge, and then the wing I'm going to sit up like that, but I'm thinking I'm going to put some gold wax on his wing. So I'm just going to glue him down. So I've just put some box board on the back to help sit him up a bit. There, he's going to sit there. So he looks like he's standing on the edge of the canvas, and she's actually sitting on those bottle caps and everything there. So this is just chipboard that I'm using, the wing. So I just want some gold highlights on there. You could use a brush to do this if you wanted to. or if you've got a gold ink, you could use a gold ink. This is just an antique gold wax, so it's not a bright gold, it's just a dull sort of gold. Okay. So that's done. That's going to look quite good sitting behind him there. Okay. He's got nice big wings. Yep. Okay. So that is pretty much it. I may add a little bit more, just a little bit of the glitter glass. If you don't have the glitter, this in particular, you can just use glitter. You might add some in all of those. Oops, bit too much there. So once that glue's dry, I'll just shake all that off and clean all that up. Okay. So that is pretty much it. I think she needs some gold as well near her. So I'm just brushing a little bit off onto the edge there, just to give it a little touch of gold. Okay. So I don't have a sentiment to put on at the moment, but once I find one, I will put it on across here. You've got a big enough space up here to put it on. You can even go down here a bit as well. So that is our mixed media canvas. So you can see all the shimmery bits and everything on there. So I'll let that dry overnight, take off all the excess glitter glass, and it's done. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you in another class soon.